Hello and welcome to Glittering the Coast. Today we are going to be doing a cute Mardi Gras tumbler, and I am so excited to show you how I made this one. It has some swirls, it's got lots of glitter, and of course the shiniest epoxy there is. It's very easy to make, so if you want to learn how to do it, follow along. So I'm starting off with a 30-ounce tumbler, and this one is a curved tumbler, and I hardly ever do those, but I thought this one would be really pretty. And I'm also using KS Resin Liquidy Split Ultra UV on all of my layers, and I have 5 milliliters total mixed up, and I am taking a spray painted tumbler and coating that tumbler very smoothly with enough epoxy that will coat it without leaving it streaky. So make sure that you are taking the time to make sure that every piece of that tumbler is completely coated with epoxy, and you can make sure that it's done that way just by looking at it. So hold it in the light and just take a look at it, make sure that everything is fully coated. So I've got 3 different colors that I'm using here. And we are starting off with a chunky purple glitter. It is very pretty. It's like a purple to pink iridescent shimmer. And I don't think I know the names of any of these. So just, find something that you think would look really pretty. So it's Mardi Gras. Anything goes with Mardi Gras. So I love this chunky purple. I thought it was really pretty. So I'm covering this tumbler as best as I can in a swirl, and we're going to be doing a few other colors as well. Once I figure out the colors of the glitter, I will link them in the description, so don't worry about that. So I've got this gold chunky glitter that I'm putting on now, and this one came out of the tube really easy, and it actually covered like a charm. So this one was a great gold chunky glitter that was very easy to use. And I'm also using this lime green chunky glitter. So my base of my tumbler is all chunky mixes, and then I'm going to go back in with some fine glitter here in just a moment. But I thought that these colors were really pretty. I didn't really want to use yellow. Sometimes gold to me is a little bit better than yellow for Mardi Gras, so I decided I was going to do gold, lime green, and purple. But you choose whatever you want to do and make the tumbler your own. So I'm just going around in like a swirl the best that I can do, and I'm laying on all of my chunky glitter first. So once that is completely covered, I will go in with some fine glitter. Now this process took me about 8 minutes total. I'm not sure exactly why it took me that long. I think I was really thinking about it. I didn't want to get all of the chunky glitter in the other pieces of the glitter on those papers. So I was pretty careful about what I was doing. So I'm going in here now with just the corresponding fine glitter on top of the chunky glitter colors. So that one's Bubbly. You can actually see that description there on that glitter. That one's Bubbly by KCC Glitter. And I have an extra piece of paper up at the top. And what I'm doing is just shaking off that extra glitter so it doesn't get mixed into the other glitters that I have. I just try really hard to make sure that I'm not contaminating my other glitter, but if I do, I just wipe it out and try not to make a big deal out of it. It's going to be okay. On the bottom, I decided to do this lime green glitter. I thought it was really pretty, and I like a fine glitter on the bottom if I can help it. So now we're going to go into the epoxy part. So I've got my KS Resin Liquidy Split Ultra UV Epoxy. You can save 5% by clicking on the link in the description. I mix up 30 milliliters of epoxy for a 30 milliliter cup. And sometimes I need a little bit extra, so I'll mix up another cup of epoxy. But basically what I do is I take this cup outside and I spray paint it with Rust-Oleum 2x clear in either matte or glossy. It doesn't really matter. But what that does is it completely seals the glitter so that when I put my epoxy on, the epoxy isn't going underneath the glitter and creating bubbles that will eventually come up once they start to surface. And so sealing your glitter is always a wonderful idea. I do this on all of my projects. I make sure that all of my glitter is completely sealed with the Rust-Oleum clear before I begin to epoxy anything. So that's just a really good tip here. Now, you see what I'm doing here. I'm just going back and forth and I'm completely covering all of the glitter. I started with the gold first, and then I went to the green because those were two light colors. And then I went to the purple since that one was a little bit darker. I just kind of stayed off of the purple until the end. And then I'm doing the bottom. But basically, I just do this 3 times before I even think about sanding the cup. So after I put my epoxy on every single time and I'm satisfied with it, I go in with the blowtorch in case there are any micro bubbles that I may have missed, and that just pops the bubbles. And now from here, we are using our X-Acto knife, and we're going to be removing the epoxy off of the rim. We're going to be removing any spray paint that has gotten inside of the tumbler. We're going to be sanding it, so I always make sure I take the epoxy off the rim first. And then I go around the top with a sanding block, and then I use my sandpaper everywhere on the cup. So you don't want to sand it to death. You just want to make sure that if you have any glitter that has stuck up, you want to make sure that that glitter has been sanded down. So I did put 3 coats of epoxy on this tumbler at this point in time. And so I was pretty confident that I wasn't going to have too much to work with fighting on sanding. So if you're having problems with your glitter sticking up after multiple coats of epoxy before your glitter dries onto your cup, just make sure that you pat it down. You can use wax paper or you can use parchment paper, but just get it to lay down. That will help you in the long run. I'm also using some acetone and a paper towel right here just to get the inside of that cup completely clean. Now, I am mixing up another 30 milliliters of epoxy for this, and we're going to be starting on the Milky Way. And that is just a fancy term for adding some stripes and kind of smudging it all in and making it look really pretty. So we've got 30 milliliters of epoxy going on this 30-ounce cup, and I am making sure that the epoxy is completely covering the cup. I normally don't use a ton of epoxy, but since I'm adding an additive to this, I want to make sure that I have plenty of epoxy on this cup without adding extra micro bubbles to it. So the entire cup needs to be covered with epoxy. So I'm using the white Alumilite. It is an epoxy additive, and you just need a little squeeze drop in here and then just stir it around really, really well. It's kind of like what I use for the beach tumblers or my beach glitter pens. I love this epoxy additive, and it stays white for a very long time. So honestly, I have never, ever done a Milky Way before, and this is my first time doing it. And I did mess up the first time. I actually took all of the epoxy off, and I just walked away from it. So this is actually the second time that I did a Milky Way on this specific cup. The first time it was kind of a disaster. I used all sorts of different colors and it was not cute. So before the epoxy dried, I just took my acetone and a paper towel and I wiped it all off. So if you're trying this for the first time, don't worry, I messed up the first time myself. So basically what I did is I put little lines on the cup with my popsicle stick, and now you can see here I'm scraping some of those off because I felt like they were a little bit too thick for my liking. And I'm going to go back in with my gloved hand and I'm kind of wiping off the epoxy onto the cup. Once I start rubbing it with my hand, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I am removing some of that white epoxy and some of the epoxy underneath too, like I'm doing right here. I'm smoothing out the lines, but I'm also removing a little bit of the white so it's not such a stark contrast on the cup. So I'm trying to make it kind of sheer, but I want to be able to see it as well. So this is just how I did it. I'm sure that there's plenty of other ways to do it, but this is how I figured I would do it, and it actually worked out pretty good. So I was pleasantly pleased with this one. And if you've already made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button. I'm trying to grow my following, and if you want to share this with other Tumbler makers, sorry about that, then feel free to do that as well. I would love to get my name out there. I'm really working hard to try to get these videos out as best as I can before the holidays arrive for each one. So just be on the lookout for the next holiday inspired cup. But I thought this tumbler was really cute for Mardi Gras season. So after I've got the lines the way that I want them, I take my torch and I make sure that all of the bubbles potentially that were in there are torched. I felt like I needed to spruce this up a little bit, so I took the purple and the gold and the green from previously, and I just put it in a cup, mixed it around, and now I'm just putting it onto the cup wherever I want a little bit of extra color. I thought it would probably bring a little bit extra shimmer and shine to it, so that's why I'm doing that. But feel free to leave it alone if you want to, or add to, adding more glitter is always a good thing. And after I did this and I put the glitter on where I wanted it to be, I actually took my finger and I kind of spread it in the position that the lines are going, and I moved the glitter around just slightly. So anyway, this is the finished product. I hope you like it, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope that everything that I've done so far you like. But if you want to see anything, just give me a shout out in the comments section. Thank you for watching.